The staff at Climate Smart Missoula is making a little film for Missoula Gives.
I'm Caroline Lauer with Climate Smart Missoula, and I work on climate change because when I was a kid studying history, I was captivated by how normal people could come together and be a part of something bigger than themselves. I didn't know what it would look like when I grew up, but I knew I wanted to be part of something. And at Climate Smart, that's what we do. We bring people together and provide them a pathway to advocate and create big structural change. And now, more than ever, when people are fighting to breathe because of coronavirus, it's important that we come together and make sure we have healthy air and a healthy planet so we can breathe easy now and into the future.
My name is Abby Hewson, and I'm the Outreach Director with Climate Smart Missoula, and I feel a calling to work on climate change, and I enjoy working with Climate Smart Missoula because what we do is really get our community engaged. And now more than ever, we're seeing how thinking about inclusive climate solutions at the community level are really what are going to drive big changes we need to see forward. And I'm really excited to think about how we can do that creatively in this time when we're dealing with another crisis, and thinking about how to come together as a community and continue to support one another and continue to make the changes we need to see for the future of our planet.
That's excellent, Abby. And Abby, what else do you do to shrink your carbon footprint?
Oh, well, one exciting thing we did last year was we went solar, and so I highly recommend, if that's an option for you, checking it out. We've got lots of resources on our website about how to reduce your carbon footprint, but particularly about going solar, and that's a great solution that works really well in Missoula and in Montana.
That's awesome. So Abby's been super great at inspiring a lot of people to shrink their carbon footprint and build a more resilient Missoula.
Thanks, Amy.
Hi, I'm Allie Kane. I serve as an Energy Corps member with Climate Smart Missoula, implementing local climate solutions. In the global fight against climate change, local, sustainable climate solutions that are based on our own vulnerabilities are so important.
I'm Amy Solenberg, and the director at Climate Smart Missoula. And we started Climate Smart about 5 years ago. And our mission is just to act on climate, to find climate solutions. Never did we think that we would be in a place where there's another crisis, actually bigger than the climate crisis right now. But both matter. We know in these times of COVID, it is a crisis that's helping to illuminate just how unequal our world is, and our communities and our states and our country. And that health of our world is so important right now. We are all trying to figure out how we're a part of that, how we build community, how we help people get through this time of significant health crisis. The climate crisis is right there, intersecting with that. A lot of what keeps me up at night right now is thinking about COVID, respiratory illness, and the potential that we could have hot and smoky summers again from wildfires like we had a few years ago. How can we think about keeping people healthy in these crazy times and then add climate to that? Makes me really worry about our future, and especially how we're going to even get through the summer. But then I look around and I see all these great people who I can't really see very close. I can't hug them, I can't touch them, but I know that I have these great coworkers, and I know there's this really strong community out there that's helping to figure out how we do this and how we do this well. The outpouring of community, individuals in our community trying to make things better for people at this time is just so incredible. It's amazing what we can do together, and we are all in this together. So Climate Smart's role, yes, we are going to figure out how to have people get more solar and get off fossil fuels and drive our cars around a whole lot less and do all the things we need to do to bend the curve of downward emissions, to actually get to zero carbon emissions over time, and we are still completely committed to that. We know around the world we're seeing cleaner skies. Our job is going to be to work with our community and our state and our country and the world to figure out how we grow from that and take that opportunity to build a healthier world. But right now we're thinking in the summer, what can we do? What is most urgent for our community that Climate Smart can play a unique role given who we are and what we've started. And we have some ideas on this Missoula Gives Day that we hope folks out there have the means to be willing to help support.
So Amy.
Yes, Abby.
I have a question for you. As you've mentioned, what are some ways that these two challenges intersect, and how is the coronavirus impacting how we're thinking about our work going forward, and what does that look like, and how can people get involved?
Right, that's a good question, Abby. So we know and we have learned, we got through the challenges of 2017 with really extreme wildfire smoke, which is, as we're learning over these last few years, is even more harmful to our health than we understood at that time, right?
Yeah.
So what we started to do is figure out how could we get HEPA portable air cleaners to people that are most vulnerable so they could have clean indoor air. That is going to become so important this year if we get wildfire smoke. So we have to prepare now.
Yep.
So because we can't actually tell people, hey, go to the movie theater where they have air conditioning and clean air, or even go to the public library, because, well, maybe we can, but maybe we can't. We don't know what we're going to be able to do with those spaces, those public spaces.
Yeah.
But the more homes that are weatherized, or the more homes that just have clean indoor air, let's stick to that for in this short time that we have, they could get one of these HEPA air filters. So if we get a lot of donations to Climate Smart, we're going to put some of that in a cache so we can build that. We have some right now, but we could use more so that we can give them to people that need them. We can help people out in our community understand what they could get for themselves if they have the means. So funding for Climate Smart on Missoula Gives will support that program and our abilities to get HEPA air filters out to folks that need it. And we have something else this summer we're going to try. We've been working with a retired engineer, Tom Jabbins, who's doing all these tests to say, well, these are nice if you got about $120 or so.
Right.
And
everybody does. Yeah.
Not everybody does. And what if we could take a box fan? So, think about this as a box fan, because we didn't have props here today, but let's pretend this is a window box fan, right? And what if you connected a filter to that? So you gotta just grab something like this, and you put it with a fan, and you put them together, and you turn the fan on, and the air blows through the filter, and you just put it in your house. So people have been doing this, and it's just it's just a filter and a fan, not like this.
DIY portable air cleaner.
Do DIY, and the cool thing is we've been afraid to tell people to do it, because what if by putting a filter in front of the fan, you actually overheat the fan, and it could be a safety risk? And what if they don't really work that well? Well, our friend Tom has been studying this, and he actually did a bunch of tests in his basement, super detailed. He's an engineer. He went to the tilt, like engineers can do, and collected a lot of data. And sure enough, finding that they are safe. New fans don't overheat. We can put filters in front of them, and they work. Cool. So what if we had, funding from folks? Maybe you're out there could donate $40 to Missoula. We could have a filter and a fan combo, and we could have it ready to go, and we could give it to people that need it.
That seems like a good deal.
That seems like it could be really good, right? So that's our charge. We need to get people together now in May to figure out how can we serve the most people with clean indoor air, given wildfire smoke, the potential for it this summer, and given COVID.
Yeah.
And there are lots of other ways that we can work with public spaces, assisted living centers, places where a lot of people live, to make sure they have the best air they can. It seems like a really narrow niche, but it's where we started. It's at the foundation of Climate Smart. We started thinking, how can we be smarter in summer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Given climate change, where we know that it's going to get hotter and we have a higher risk of wildfires and wildfire smoke. So it has been our niche. It's part of our whole Climate Ready Missoula action plan we've been developing. So Climate Ready Missoula with Missoula County and the city of Missoula and a whole lot of input from our community. We've developed this plan. It's final. It's done. It's going to be finally adopted in about 2 weeks here, and with the Board of County Commissioners and City Council. And some of the really high priority strategies right there are dealing with wildfire smoke in summer. So we're going to put all those things together, and I think that's really important for Climate Smart Missoula to continue to be part of that. What do you think?
Yeah,
Abby?
absolutely. I just think that it's just one example of how to be creative and use the resources, the people power and what we have right here in our community to help figure out how to solve some of these challenges. And climate change looks so different in different places, and that's one of the cool things we get to do is say, what do we have right here in Missoula, what are our challenges, and how are the ways that we can solve those. So this is just one example of that. The Climate Ready Missoula has so many more examples of that kind of community creative thinking, and offering real solutions that will make a difference to the lives of a lot of people.
Yeah. What if we took this, but we're here today to tell you about a little Climate Smart Missoula. Hopefully you knew all of that. You can go to missoulaclimate.org to learn more. But I think that's a great segue into this really short animated film that was put together about Climate Ready Missoula. Because if you're climate ready, you're improving people's health, it means we're better able to deal with other crises like COVID and do it together.
We talk a lot about resiliency, but it's sometimes hard to picture what that means, and I think this little film does a great job of showing that.
I agree.
Our climate is changing. Our summers are getting hotter, drier, and smokier. Our winters warmer. We're facing longer wildfire seasons and more flooding in the future. And with greater variability, the typical year may be a thing of the past. It's time to prepare. Climate Ready Missoula, an effort led by Climate Smart Missoula, Missoula County, and the city, aims to do just that. Our goal is a resilient Missoula, one that's prepared for change and can bounce back from disruption. And that's a more equitable place where no one is left behind. That means considering where and how we build, shifting development away from high wildfire and flood risk, and making sure our buildings are efficient and provide cool, clean air during hot, smoky summers. Climate considerations will affect most decisions, like how we grow and distribute food, diversify our tourism industry, build roads, and manage stormwater. Our open lands and natural ecosystems will need to be protected, connected, and managed for resiliency. Climate change is daunting and it will affect everyone differently. But if we work together and look out for each other, we can create a more resilient Missoula for all. Learn more at climatereadymissoula.org.
Thanks for supporting us during Missoula Gives 2020. And support a lot of local organizations during this day of giving. Yay, Missoula! Yay, Missoula!